Finance Minister.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me this opportunity to respond to several members of Parliament who have spoken on the finance bill. So the vision of the Honourable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, has been to establish a simple, efficient, fair and equitous technology-driven taxation regime in this country. So simplification and ease of compliance for the taxpayer has been the primary objective with which in the last 10 years and this year in the third term of Prime Minister Modi, the approach to taxation has been to simplify the taxation, reduce the burden on taxpayer, and make sure it is transparent and equitous. So this year also, our approach has been that we bring in greater simplification of tax laws and procedures, and that we enable growth and employment in this country. So the twin approach for getting the taxation regime in this country a lot more simpler and technology-driven has been the broad principle based on which the proposals have been laid before this August House. We've actually brought in transformational changes in the tax governance in the last decade. So without drastically increasing taxes and minimizing litigation, we have actually helped, I would think, in bringing a simplified taxation regime, greater transparency, ease of compliance, and driven by the trust we have on the taxpayers. So several members have spoken about tax burden on the middle class. I'll of course come a bit later to talk and to respond to individual honorable members who have spoken on specific issues. But broadly on this issue of burdening the middle class, several members have spoken, but I would just take some names. Other names will come when I respond in specific. Amar Singh ji, Arun Nehru ji, Neeraj Maurya ji, Supriya Sule ji, Tanuj Punya ji, Sachidanandam, Honourable Member, and also Honourable Member Avinash Reddy ji have all spoken about the burden on the middle class, taxes not really being reduced on them, and so on. In general, I want to put forth before you, sir, that the specific items on which I would propose, and I believe that middle class stand to benefit. So I will name them, specify them. In 2023, sir, the slabs for personal income tax were significantly liberalized. All taxpayers had reduced tax liability of 37,500 rupees. This government has again revised slabs in the new regime even now in this budget. Certainly this has an impact on the middle class, I would believe. Standard deduction for salaried employees has also been increased from 50,000 to 75,000 in the new regime in this budget. This is an effective relief of up to 17,500 for a salaried employee. This again, I would believe, benefits the middle class. So further, deduction on family pension for pensioners is proposed to be enhanced from 15,000 rupees to 30,000 rupees. For salaried employees, deduction on employers' contribution in case of employees who are in private sector and public sector banks, those who are opting for the new tax regime, has been raised from 10% to 14% in this budget. Again, middle class stands to benefit from this as well. So, in specific, in the last 2 years, substantial relief has been given to the middle class. I may point out a few things, sir, that while most developed countries were increasing personal income taxes during the COVID-19 crisis, Prime Minister Modi's direction to me, and I've said this earlier also in this House, I'd like to repeat now. Prime Minister Modi's direction to me was totally in contrast with what was happening in developed countries. No tax on our citizen to meet the COVID expenditure. And I would strongly request the honourable members to look back at what happened between 2020, 21, 22, 23. We have not increased the tax at all, sir. Effective tax on an income of 15 lakh rupees, I'm taking it as an example, effective tax on an income of 15 lakhs was reduced to 10% in 2023 and has been further reduced this year as well. So I want to make this point clear, sir. Again, I would strongly believe this would certainly help the middle class. Again, sir, I would like to remind, through you, sir, the August House, that from the days of tax terrorism, when we were accused in 2014, saying do something immediately because tax terrorism is affecting the middle class and small businesses, and the rent-seeking approach of a few in the service had really hurt many of the taxpayers, and this was one of the biggest challenges before this government. Earlier in 2014, again in 2019, when we're trying to bring in the faceless system, we have moved away from those days, sir, because we brought in the faceless system, which is taxpayer-friendly, infused confidence in the taxpayer, and any inquiry on the tax could be responded via email or messages. Besides this, sir, Vivad Se Vishwas schemes were brought in, as a result of which, periodically, again this time also we've come up with the Vivad Se Vishwas, and as a result of which, periodically, pending litigation and demands have all been sorted out. Relief was brought in to a wide range of taxpayers, largely, data shows, largely the beneficiaries are MSMEs, individuals, and small companies. I would think this is also the segment which is the middle class segment. So they have found relief because of the Vivad Se Vishwas. So furthermore, small, old and petty unverified tax demands of 90 lakh taxpayers were totally removed from the records as announced in the interim budget of 2024. ये घोषणा 2024 interim budget में हुआ था, मगर उसका असर अभी दिखने लगे कि 90 लाख टैक्सपेयर्स को हम राहत देने के लिए उस समय घोषणा की। 1.1 करोड़ एंट्रीज इससे निकला रिकॉर्ड से बाहर। इससे राहत सब मिडिल क्लास को मिलता है, छोटे बिजनेसेस को मिलता है। मैं ये जरूर कहना चाहती हूँ। सर, स्टार्टअप्स के लिए, फॉर स्टार्टअप्स, द रिमूवल ऑफ एंजल टैक्स has come as a big relief, and this was introduced. We have removed it all right. And last year and the year before that, we tried removing the startup world from some of the provisions of the angel tax, and we thought that would address the problem. But if the festering problems really worried the small businesses and the startups in particular, we have totally removed it, abolished it. But when was it brought in? It was brought in 2012, sir. And from then, they, in spite of having at least 2 full years in their hand, the UPA government did not remove the startup. Okay, yes, 10 years, but who was the one who called it as exploitative tax? Yes. You called it exploitative tax. The leader of the opposition called it exploitative tax. And when he introduced it, did he not know that it was exploitative? And now, when you demand abolition of it, You forget that you brought it in, but because you now said it is exploitative, the whole world has to accept it. We have worked on it so that the burden because of this angel tax does not fall on small businesses. But eventually, after having worked on it 2 years over, we have now removed it. But I would again like to remind, sir, through you, that it was called as an exploitative tax and we shall remove it, was a claim by the one who brought it in the first place. Sir, exemption limit of 1 lakh for LTCG capital gains, long-term capital gains on certain financial assets, such as those which are shares and bonds, have been given, and it is in this budget raised to 1.25 lakhs, which also, I strongly believe, benefits the middle class, because small money which is getting invested in shares and stocks and in bonds for small returns that people would want to have because their investing capacities are not very big. Even for them, this budget has given relief in that we've exempted it from any kind of tax, and that 1 lakh exemption has been enhanced to 1.25. So middle class, which finds that returns from the stock markets are much better than some of the saving schemes, and therefore who have gone there in their own wisdom, we have not taxed them, we've only given them exemption and enhanced exemption, 1 lakh to 1.25 lakh exemption, certainly aiming at the middle class, sir. Therefore, the narrative which is now being said, oh, the middle class, you put them to difficulty, you've not done anything, they are angry with you. Certainly, sir, I want the parties who are talking about middle class now to understand this country had 98% taxation in one of the earlier regimes, the ancient regimes, which also cared nothing for the fundamental rights of the citizens. The regime which brought in emergency, 98% tax. At that time, no middle class worry. No middle class worry. Sir.
Only black money.
And for the number of corruption that had happened between 2004 and 14, sir, public of India would have been much better if those monies were in the coffers rather than in the pocket of a few dynastic leaders. Sir, indirect taxes. On the customs side, sir, on the customs side, we have taken several steps to facilitate international trade, ensure processes becoming simpler and faster, and also to lead to lower logistics cost and compliance cost. And this would certainly boost the domestic production and enhance export competitiveness. So when we brought down the customs duty on several of those items listed in this budget, it was aimed at reducing the prices of raw materials and inputs, making domestic production far more cost effective. So to promote trade and employment, sir, we have in this finance bill proposed rate cuts on certain inputs for labor-intensive industries such as leather and textile sectors that will boost job creation and address duty inversion issues which are prevalent in the textile sector. Exemptions and reductions, sir, on 27 critical minerals. I know Honorable Member Supriya Sule has raised a question on it. I'll certainly come to answer specifically on that issue. But exemption and reduction on 27 critical minerals such as lithium, cobalt, and many others which are necessary for this country's strategic autonomy. Duty rate cuts on precious metals, gold and silver, because India is one of the largest hubs for cutting and polishing diamonds, and it creates jobs in big numbers. So, and also the gems and jewelry mark a very big export potential for this country. Therefore, we have brought down the duty rates here so that domestic value addition work can be better carried out for export purposes. Sir, duty rate cuts have also been done on certain inputs for the aqua farming area and the marine industry, so that we'll be able to export more marine products, especially for shrimp. So this is because the industry has been requesting the government. The raw materials which are being imported are critical for maintaining high standards of exports. So although domestic capacity is in the initial stages, I know some of the members of parliament have met me about capacity existing within this country, and at this stage, do we want to reduce the duties? We have certainly supported the manufacturing happening in the country, but till such a time, we didn't want, till such a time that they reach a level, we didn't want marine exports to suffer, and therefore some duty cuts have been brought in there as well. Over and above all this, I have also announced that there will be a comprehensive review of the rate structure over the next 6 months, and hopefully at the end of that exercise we'll have a greater simplified tax structure for our country as a whole. So this is about the indirect tax, customs duties, excise and so on. Direct tax, I'll come over, sir. Again, technology-backed tax governance is what we are underlining. If income tax assessing goes to his portal to see and to file, I would like to highlight 4 major steps that have come for the taxpayers' convenience. Pre-filled income tax returns based on verified third-party information have made income reporting faster and easier. Many taxpayers themselves have said this pre-filled form actually is helpful for us. We can reject that which is wrong, but some things which we have forgotten are getting captured, and therefore the whole process is simple and easy and helpful. Second, sir, faceless regime. The faceless regime of assessment and appeals has automated major IT-related processes and reduced human interface and rent seeking. There's no discretion because it's now faceless. Third, refunds are issued within days as opposed to months. And that it used to take sometimes several months. Today, average processing time of returns has reduced from 93 days in 2013-14 to 10 days in 23-24. 93 days for refund now gets done within 10 days. A record number of filings, sir, on that. A record number of 7.28 crores of income tax returns for the year 24-25 were filed till 31st July 2024. A 7.5% increase from 6.77 crores the last year, 23-24. About 58.57 lakh ITRs. And this is a good news, which I would want honorable members to recognize. 58.57 lakh income tax returns were received from first-time income tax filers. First time they are filing. 58.57 lakh people have filed, indicating a widening of the tax base, for which a lot of effort to nudge people has been taken up by us. Sir, litigation management is also something on which we've given a lot of attention. We've made multiple announcements in this budget. I'd like to highlight some of them. Reopening and reassessment of taxes has been simplified. This is a very, very big issue because many people, many taxpayers felt, for how long should I keep this record? For how long should I remain in suspense? Till when will the income tax authorities keep asking me for documents? We have simplified that process. I want to highlight that assessment may be opened up to only 5 years post-assessment, but for the 4th and the 5th year, only if unreported income exceeds 50 lakhs. So it will be opened only up to 5 years after the assessment of that particular year is completed. But even afterwards, what is important is the 4th and the 5th year, you will open it up only if there's been unreported income of 50 lakhs or more. The period thus stands reduced from 10 years to 5 years only. Till now, all of us kept our documents for 10 years. Now it will be reduced to only 5 years, and I will be grateful to this member, all these members of this House, for bringing in that change, which will make it much more simpler for all of us, literally. In such cases, sir, scheme of block assessment has been introduced for a block of previous 6 years and the year of the search. So, for period of assessment in such cases, search happens by income tax. After that, what? How long do I? For that, in such cases, the period of assessment now stands reduced from 10 years to only 6 years, even if there was a search, not beyond 6 years. Sir, and in this budget, again, in order to relieve taxpayers of the pain of pendency, we have again brought in a Vivad Se Vishwas scheme for the settlement of all pending appeals. It is also proposed that the two regimes of taxation of charities will be merged gradually to be one. Also, monetary limit for filing appeals related to direct taxes, excise and service tax in tax tribunals or in High Court or in the Supreme Court has been enhanced to 60 lakh. Earlier it was 50 lakh. 2 crores for High Courts. Earlier it was 1 crore. And 5 crores in Supreme Court. Earlier it was 2 crores respectively. This will reduce litigation again and promote ease of doing business. So there's no hurry for small cases going into appeal. That has been clearly laid out, that unless the amount is this much, you will not even go on appeal. As a consequence, sir, of the proposed upward revision of monetary limits in Finance Bill, this is a very important data. I would like to place it before the Honourable House. As a consequence of this proposed upward revision of monetary limits in the Finance Bill of 24, a total of 7,754 appeals, that is 1,044 appeals pertaining to indirect taxation and 6,710 pertaining to direct tax, are likely to be withdrawn from various judicial fora. 7,754 appeals will be withdrawn. You can understand the impact that it can make on taxpayers, the relief that it will give them, so that there are no appeal after appeal going into the courts. Whether it is the Supreme Court, High Court, or CESTAT, or ITAT, all of them will be removed. So the rationalization of TDS rates, we have proposed in this budget to reduce TDS rates from 5% to 2%, no different rates, and to eliminate section 194F, where TDS rate is 20%. So even that would be now only 2%. This will improve cash flow issues for small businesses. Again, a very big step forward for small businesses to have more money in their hands rather than give it in the name of TDS. So in this budget, sir, we have also decriminalized late payment of TDS if it is made before the deadline for filing the TDS itself, the TDS statement itself. So we have announced several comprehensive review of the Income Tax Act in this budget. So at the beginning, I did say simplification of taxation, transparency, and so on. I also said our tax proposals are aimed at inducing growth, creating employment, and bringing in investments. So a few steps that we've taken are for the shipping companies so that domestic cruise industry can grow. Also for mining companies and giving a safe harbor provision for them so that they can come into this country's mining sector. Corporate tax rate so that there is parity between investor, corporate, foreign company or domestic, 40 to 35% to attract greater foreign capital, sir. And transfer pricing arrangements are also being streamlined. So In broad, as an introduction, this is what I would want to say about the direct and indirect tax proposals which have come in. I will speak a bit later about the government's amendment that I'm coming up with on capital gains. But before that, I'll go to specific honorable MPs who have suggested a few things. 5 topics in all have emerged. Different MPs have spoken about different things, but I've grouped it all together. 5 topics. Tax burden on middle class was raised by, as I said, honorable MPs Amar Singh Ji, Mahua Moitra, Neeraj Maurya, Supriya Sule, Deepinder Singh Hooda Ji, Tanuj Punia, Sachidanandam, and also Avinash Reddy Ji. I think broadly on the middle class, I did say things in the opening statement, but one narrative which keeps coming up about the corporate tax and personal income tax. I'd like to highlight just one narrative, sir. That the corporate taxes are lower than the individual taxes, not well founded. It is not based on facts. It's all right for many honorable members to say, no, corporate taxes far lower than individual tax. I will certainly try to put forth the factual narratives on that. Corporate is a legal entity. The dividend income is also part of the corporate profits, which was earlier taxed at a lesser rate in the hands of the company. In 2020, we started taxing it in the hands of the shareholders at the applicable rate. I request through you, sir, honorable members, to see where the point that I'm trying to make is. In 2020, we started taxing it at the hands of the shareholders at the applicable rate. This effectively meant that the richer shareholders will pay tax on dividend at 39% rate, whereas in contrast, small and middle income taxpayers will pay tax on dividends at even less than 10%, which is the effective income tax rate. So this argument, oh, you're taxing less for the corporate, you're giving it all to the big corporates, you're burdening the ordinary middle class citizen, is not well founded. I would like honorable members to disabuse themselves of this misunderstanding on this issue. Sir, the gross fixed capital formation data will be of use. I did mention that the first opening speaker of the opposition, Shri Amar Singh Ji, who normally gets into a lot of economic detail, did not raise it. And I was looking forward to hearing from him on great detail about the details that he would pick up on economy-related issues. No, he just gave a very quick speech. I think he came with less information in his hand. I was looking forward to his suggestions, but that was not to be. So the gross fixed capital formation has actually shown a faster growth since pre-pandemic induced contradiction. The pandemic-induced contraction has been overcome with greater gross fixed capital formation. So we need to get the perspective on this, sir. I've laid it before the honorable members. Sir, honorable member Sri Krishna Devarayulu, he was here, yes, has raised this question about faceless assessment. Complaints have been received that too many sections are being evoked, and so on. So simple fact which I'd like to put before him is there is a non-intrusive and transparent mechanism which is in place. The faceless assessment eliminates the human interface in total. And this point which was raised by him, saying before the reassessment, the assessor has to pay 20% of the amount, which means on the 80% status quo continues, there is no claim being made. That is the other side of the coin. You said 20% has to be paid. On paying it, 80% claim, no other, it comes almost to a standstill. It is stayed there. So that is a benefit you get out of this payment. Yes, where I'm asking for 100% claim, I'm asking you to pay 20, and 80 I'm not going to do anything till such a time the appeal verdict is coming. It's a relief for you. Sir, Also, again, Sri Krishna Devarailu had asked this question about Vivad se Viswas, that there are no timelines given, and high appeal pendency. So I just want to highlight, we have created new mechanisms in the last 2 years. We've appointed new joint secretaries. JC appeals are sitting there to clear up. More officers are getting deputed to deal with pendencies. And dispute resolution committee was formed in 2023, which deals with these claims. And the monetary limit for filing appeal to the ITAT is proposed to be increased, as I read out just a minute ago. So we are taking a very open-minded approach towards Vivad se Vishwas. And it has been, this is the second round I have brought that in. So with that, pendency is being addressed. Sir, income tax deduction have been done away with. Hence, middle class is at a loss. So this point was raised by several members. I've read their names earlier. I just want to highlight, sir, the new tax regime which we brought in is simpler, lesser in rates. It also gives a flexibility to the taxpayer to see where he wants to put his money in the absence of exemptions which is available in the old regime. The old regime has not been dissolved. It is still on. So as an alternative to the new tax regime, it still offers all the benefits of various deductions, such as interest on home loan, etc. So that is still available for people to benefit from. Individuals without business income can choose between this regime and the other, and if they want to revert back also, they can revert back. So there is a choice provided for the taxpayer, he can choose. And all right, we brought the new tax regime. People are not interested, is not the case. I want to lay on the House, on the table of the House, the numbers who have moved to the new tax regime. For the previous assessment year, sir, 23-24, till December 31st, 2023, about 3.8% of taxpayers opted for the new tax regime. And that equates to about 30.93 lakh individuals from a total of 7.98 crore individuals who filed their returns, ITR 1 and ITR 4. However, for the assessment year 24-25, which is what is before us, until July 31st, 2024, there was a dramatic increase in the adoption of the new regime, which approximately 72.8% of all taxpayers choosing to come into the new taxpayer regime. This represents 5.25 crore individuals out of a total of 7.22 crore individuals who file the tax returns, ITRs, in the same category. So new tax regime is actually helping people to see that they are paying less, they stand to benefit with a simple system, and it is helping them. But that doesn't mean that the people who are coming into the new tax regime do not have any savings or investments. They are happening, and the middle class is losing out is not a right argument, because due to the fintech growth, there is greater awareness, and ease of investment is happening because of UPI, eKYC, and very many progressive regulations. The investments in mutual funds have also increased tremendously. I will not go into the details of numbers, sir, just to highlight, on an average, this is a very, very important indicative data. On an average, 17.88 lakh new folios have been added every month in the last 5 years since 2019. 17.88 lakh new folios. The unique mutual fund investors are also growing. Today, compared to 2014, when there were just 1 crore mutual fund investors, today there are 4 crore mutual fund investors. Where is 1 and where is 4, sir? Sir, the fifth topic because I grouped honourable members' concerns, was on the capital gains tax. It is high, and that the indexation has been removed. So I'll highlight in detail the capital gains tax matters. We are also coming up with a government amendment. Several honourable members have spoken about it. The logic of the budgetary proposal on capital gains, sir, is one, that it has to be standardized, simplify, and also treat equally all asset classes. So that it is easy for computation, for filing, for record keeping, and also all asset class be treated equally. Now the current amendment that we are bringing is for land and building assets acquired by individuals and HUFs before 23rd July 2024. It stipulates that in the case of transfer of long-term capital asset, being land or building or both, by an individual or HUF, which is acquired before 23rd July 2024, the taxpayer can compute his taxes under the new scheme, which is 12.5% without indexation, and the old scheme, 20% with indexation, and pay such tax which is the lower of the two. Not only we are coming up with an option, we are also saying calculate under both and tell us whichever is the lower, you pay tax on that. So we have given an option, sir. This ensures that no one faces additional tax burden due to this change. In fact, post the presentation of the budget, the amendment now with which we've come in gives an option, gives a fair option, and gives the choice to the property holder who is going to be selling it. The current amendment actually, sir, before that, there were a number of hypothetical cases which were being raised in the public discourse and suggested that the proposed changes will actually lead to higher taxes. A lot of hypothetical instances were posed before us. The current amendment, I'd like to repeat this, the current amendment ensures that even in such hypothetical cases, there will be no additional tax burden as a result of the current amendment which I have brought in. No additional tax burden on anybody, whichever the hypothetical case that you may work out on. Sir, also, yes, after the amendment, yes. We hear the public. This is a practice Honorable Prime Minister Modi has brought in the budget making process. Every time, yes, aap sun lijiye bhai, please sun lijiye. Every time after bringing the budget, very well. Prime Minister also represents the people. We all represent the people. Every time sir, very happy to know the opposition wants to own it up now. Prime Minister Modi, I have done this from 2019 myself. Every time we present a budget here, during the recess, when the standing committees are working on the proposals department-wise, I have gone round the country to various destinations. Oh yes, no owing on that. No owing on that. You cannot match it. You cannot match it. I have gone round the country with the budget, met up with professionals, taxpayers, consultants, industry, traders, taken their viewpoint, come here and brought in government amendments so that budget will be representative of the common people's aspirations. We've done that. Sir, for all the heckling and hooting, I like to say, once when I came up with a lot of amendments, I don't want to name some honorable members who are seated here. They asked me, you only presented the budget, now you want so many amendments? I said yes, because I've heard the people who want some things changed. We have the courage of conviction to change it. We brought it in. No point heckling. So, sir, Therefore, the current amendments ensure that even for such hypothetical cases, there will be no additional tax burden as a result of this proposal. Sir, let me now remind one thing, which even Honorable N.K. Premchandran ji, who I respect for the details with which he comes on every amendment. I respect him for it. He goes through it, he very consciously picks up certain things and questions, which is a very, very strong way to put forward a case, and I'm willing to hear it all. But even Sri N.K. Premchandran, I'm sorry, I'm picking him up not to criticize him, but to respectfully submit to him that the capital gains proposals that we brought in, now getting amended with the approval of this House, also had rollover provisions, meaning somebody had a property, they bought it at some price, later on they sell it, the capital gains that they get, if they only invest it in another property, another one property or two properties, still up to 10 crores, they stand to benefit because there's no tax on it. That rollover provision was there from day one when I submitted this budget on July 23rd. Even now it is there. It continues even now. Middle class has been in our mind even then. It is now even in our mind even now, even after bringing this indexation provision. And yes, for all those who sit and ask me this question, I'll repeat. It was no revenue consideration for which we removed the indexation provision. We wanted to bring in simplification. We wanted to treat all assets equal, all asset class equal, and therefore we brought it in. But if people are clear that indexation is what they want, we've now given that option as well. So there is no revenue consideration or greed for more money to earn from people who have invested in their house. It is only to simplify that we brought that in. So, sir, that is one rollover benefit about which less is spoken, but it is worthy to remind the middle class about which today a lot of us are being questioned, and I'm happy to answer this question. Rollover provision exists if the capital gains amount is invested in one or a second property as well. But if in case, no, that's not happening. We are saying you at least invest in those bonds or items which are notified under 54 EC of the Income Tax Act, and there 50 lakh rupees tak you can invest annually. Even that provision existed in July 23, 2024 budget. It exists even now, and it stands to benefit the middle class. I would like to highlight that, sir, and therefore, on the capital gains tax, discussions have been conveniently twisted and turned, but the aspect that the indexation that may be decided, we brought in here. So I'm happy to say that we have yielded to the voices which have been heard, and Prime Minister Modi has done this every year from 2019 onwards. I'm doing this every budget. Sir, so the capital gains and also the government amendments I've explained. The last issue, sir, if you give me that 2 minutes extra, is on GST. मैं आ रही हूँ सर, उसी में आ रही हूँ, उनसे परमिशन मांग रही हूँ। GST के ऊपर सर, बिल्कुल मैं बोलना चाह रही हूँ। हाँ जी, हाँ हाँ, सबके सुनेंगे, मगर उसमें थोड़ा समझ का, अंडरस्टैंडिंग का जो इशू है, उसको भी मैं सामने रखती हूँ। स्पीकर साहब, आप अनुमति दें। सर, जीएसटी के विषय में थोड़ा मेरा टूटा फूटा हिंदी को माफ करिए। बहुत सारे विषय जीएसटी के ऊपर सुझाव के नाते बहुत सारे मेंबर्स ने कहा। A lot of members have given us suggestions on GST, which certainly I will take to the council, because the ultimate decision is in the council, where states together Sir, GST Council, जहां 2/3 states का representatives बैठते हैं, 1/3 is all the central government has, and it is a constitutional body. So, customs duty on very many items, GST, not customs, sorry. GST suggestions on very many items. बोलते हैं. So, सुझाव के नाते बहुत सारे हैं सर, मगर उसमें एक आध विषय को मैं थोड़ा एक्सप्लेन करना चाहती हूँ. सर, बिफोर आई गो टू द GST, एक विषय में कस्टम्स के ऊपर खत्म करके मैं GST को दोबारा जाती हूँ. Customs duty on chemicals for research work and laboratories has been reduced to 0. Honorable Member Supriya Sule raised it, and पहले भी मैंने बात की उसके ऊपर. ये वाला, इसमें उनका प्रश्न ये था कि why did you have to reduce? But 150 is the BCD. All chemicals which come into this country are classified in 3 different chapters, Chapter 28, 29, 38 of the Customs Tariff Act, and they attract different rates. Chapter 28 has 2.5, Chapter 29 has 5%, Chapter 38 has 7.5, and some are in 10% category. Ethyl alcohol attracts a BCD of 150%. That was proposed in the budget, and on that a lot of concerns have been expressed. So, I just want to highlight that chapters 3 होने के बावजूद भी एक facilitation measure के नाते chapter tariff heading जो CTH बोलते हैं, CTH 9802 was created some time back for imports of laboratory chemicals in quantities not exceeding 500 ml or 500 grams. And उसका basic duty था 10%. मतलब छोटे sample size में कोई chemical या कोई liquid जो chemical के नाते liquid के रूप में आता है, उसके लिए quickly deal करने के लिए ट्रेड फैसिलिटेशन के लिए अलग सा एक चैप्टर था छोटे छोटे सैंपल्स के लिए. उसका बेसिक ड्यूटी वाज 10%. बट द CTH 9802 चैप्टर का एकदम दुरुपयोग हो रहा था. मतलब इट हैज बीन मिसयूज्ड टू इंपोर्ट इथाइल अल्कोहल व्हिच अदरवाइज अट्रैक्ट्स BCD of 150%. क्योंकि उसके ऊपर 150 है और उसको छोटे छोटे सैंपल साइज में इकट्ठा इतने सारे ले आओ और उसमें छोटे सैंपल है इसीलिए मुझे 10% का ड्यूटी लगाओ. ऐसे करके सिस्टम को गेम करते रहे कुछ, मैं सभी को दोषी नहीं मानती हूं, कुछ इथाइल अल्कोहल इंपोर्टर्स. To curb this kind of misuse in the budget, this current budget 24-25, this BCD for this particular category CTH 9802 was increased to 150% in the tariff. So ये छोटे सैंपल को दुरुपयोग करते हुए इकट्ठा ले आओ मगर उसमें छोटे छोटे सैंपल रखो, उसको 10% का एडवांटेज लो. ये मिसयूज को करेक्ट करने के लिए 150% टैक्स लगवाए. इतना लगाने के लिए अधिकार है क्या? सिर्फ टैक्सेशन ऑन टैरिफ एंड measures like that. I just want to give 3 important points which all of us will know, but I will put it for the benefit of the honorable members. Commerce Minister is seated here. Bound rate for any item is determined at WTO. Magar tariff rate or ceiling rate is decided by this Parliament. And उसमें prescribed rate ले आने के लिए थ्रू नोटिफिकेशन डिपार्टमेंट कस्टम्स CBIC करते हैं. So 150% for this Custom Tariff Act 1975 tariff rate, which operates as a ceiling, is approved by the Parliament, the ceiling rate. To facilitate genuine research and development, central government, in a recent notification, even as the Parliament was in session, we presented it in the House, prescribed 10% BCD on laboratory chemicals imported for use of laboratory. ये क्यों अभी कर रहे हैं? पहले तो 115 सीलिंग बोल दिया. ये इसीलिए कर रहे हैं कि छोटे छोटे सैंपल्स को भी अगर आप इंपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं तो अभी सेल्फ सर्टिफिकेशन करो और 10% टैक्स लो. ये गेमिंग कंट्रोल करने के लिए था सिस्टम. हम उसमें भी थोड़ा रिलैक्स करके बोलते हैं आप अपनी जिम्मेदारी लो, बोलो कि ये बल्क में नहीं ले आ रहे हैं or you are purposely bringing it with an intention for using in research, and give a self-certification and take your 10%. That is a facilitation which has been done. I hope that answers the concern of Honorable Member Supriya Sule. And again on the import of rare minerals, Honorable Member had asked this question. These minerals are not available in this country. There is no substitute available for them in this country. Small quantities are required by so many sectors. High-tech electronics need them, this critical minerals. Therefore, the Mines Ministry is of the view that we need to get them at a concessional or 0% rate, because high-tech electronics के लिए चाहिए, telecommunications need them, space, transport, defense, and clean energy system. In सबको ये rare minerals चाहिए होते हैं. इसीलिए we have brought it down. There are small quantities which will come. We are conscious of monitoring them as well. Sir, last 2 points. Excise duty on petrol has increased from 9 rupees before 2014 to 20 now. And excise duty in diesel has increased from 3 rupees before 2014 to 15 now. And therefore, the demand was give relief on excise duty on petrol and diesel. Sir, I have said this several times in this House. Honorable Prime Minister, both in November 21 and June 22, reduced the excise duty on petrol and diesel. But I would like to highlight that in November 21 and May 22, 13 rupees per litre was reduced on petrol and 16 rupees per litre was reduced on diesel, both the times put together. And while petrol and diesel prices were cut by 2 rupees per litre across the country, even in March 2024. But, sorry? नहीं आ रही हाँ सर, मगर ये कट डाउन करने वाले प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी है, और वो कट डाउन होने के बाद बीजेपी रूल्ड स्टेट सब कट किए, मगर नो, उसमें भी जनता को हित में हम काम नहीं करेंगे, राजनीति करेंगे करने वाले सरकार सब आज विपक्ष में से हमें मांग रहे हैं कि रेट कट करो. अरे 2 बार किए जी, और तीसरी बार इस मार्च 24 में भी किए. मैं पूछती हूं, स्टेट्स जहां कट नहीं हुआ मगर चुनाव में जीतकर आने के बाद हिमाचल प्रदेश में वैट ऑन पेट्रोल एंड डीजल बढ़ाया गया. 3 रुपया on petrol and 10 rupees on diesel. I want to ask, that was January 2023, what stops the Congress party from giving relief to the people in Himachal Pradesh? जनता को गुमराह करके जीत करके आने के बाद बढ़ा रहे हो रेट, और इधर आकर के हमसे पूछ रही हो. दूसरा, मैं आती हूं अगले भी. हाँ जी, कर्नाटका गवर्नमेंट, अगेन कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट, in June 2024, hiked the sales tax on fuel, which made petrol and diesel costlier even there. Petrol and diesel prices went up by 3 rupees. Congress government hai udhar, jaake udhar cut karwao. Sir, फिर मैं आती हूं पंजाब के विषय में. पंजाब के सदस्य सब मांगते हैं बहुत सारे विषय में. 2023 जून में पंजाब गवर्नमेंट led by Aam Aadmi Party, part of the India Alliance, increased the value added tax on petrol and diesel by 10% and 13% respectively. इसके कारण 92 पैसा इंक्रीज हुआ पेट्रोल का दाम, 88 पैसा इंक्रीज हुआ डीजल के दाम पंजाब में. ये इधर आकर के हमसे पूछ रहे हैं जो कर दिखाया काट. Tamil Nadu government, sir, led by DMK, had promised in their election manifesto that they will cut prices by 5 rupees a litre and 4 rupees a litre on petrol and diesel respectively. Only 3 rupees petrol cut was made in August 2021 and no cut in diesel was made. ये इधर आकर के हमसे पूछते हैं पेट्रोल और डीजल कट करो. So excise duty पेट्रोल और डीजल के ऊपर लेक्चर देने के पहले वो उनके अपने अपने राज्यों में कर दिखाना चाहिए. सर, मेंबर तनुज पुनिया जी प्रश्न पूछे. सिंथेटिक मेंथोल फ्रॉम चाइना and natural menthol made in India are both attracting 12% of GST. ये सही नहीं है. So उनके लिए मैं जवाब देना चाहती हूँ सर. So एक ही HS कोड था. I don't know if Honorable Member Tanuj Punia ji is here. I wanted to respond to him. In this, natural and synthetic menthol. सही है, बिल्कुल सही है. सर, मैं ऑनरेबल मेंबर पुनिया को जवाब देना चाहती हूं. सर, नेचुरल और सिंथेटिक मेंथोल क्लासिफिकेशन को एक ही एचएस कोड के नीचे आता है. इसके लिए अलग, उसके लिए अलग एचएस कोड नहीं है. उसके कारण there are problems. Request was received from the state of Uttar Pradesh to increase the GST rate on synthetic menthol so that the natural menthol which is produced in this country can be treated fairly. However, because of the absence of tariff code or standards to distinguish between natural menthol and synthetic menthol, the issue had not been taken up. In this finance bill, sir, it is proposed to create a separate HS code for synthetic, meaning for natural menthol. And therefore, after this, the GST Council can consider and take its decision on the matter. So that is for Honorable Member Punia, who had raised this issue. So lastly, sir, several suggestions have come as regards GST. As I said, I'll take it up with the Council. But on this issue, I wish to utilize this opportunity to explain what is this matter. 18, sorry? Sorry? I can't hear you. What's he saying? Sir, पता नहीं वो क्या बोल रहे हैं sir. Sir, life insurance, honorable members and honorable speaker, sir, life insurance और medical insurance के ऊपर GST 18% को remove करो. हाँ, मैं ये विषय में बहुत प्रश्न में उठाना चाहती हूँ. सर, It's amazing. I'm sorry to use this word. It is thoroughly amazing me. मैं डिटेल में आऊंगी, मगर एक चिट्ठी लिखे ऑनरेबल मंत्री जी मुझे, चिट्ठी मंत्रीगण लिखते हैं, मगर क्योंकि वो चिट्ठी किसी और के द्वारा पब्लिक में आया, खुलासा हुआ, उसके ऊपर चर्चा हो, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन इन द गवर्नमेंट, और पकड़ लो उसको, मैं भी बोलता हूं मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस के ऊपर जीएसटी कम करो, क्योंकि उनका चिट्ठी मिल गई, और उसके सॉरी हाँ ठीक है जो भी हो, फिर उसके बाद 200 एमपीज के साथ जीएसटी निकालो इसके ऊपर, प्रदर्शन पार्लियामेंट में, ठीक है सर, सभी पार्टियों हारे हैं उसमें, हम भी ध्यान से सुनते हैं सर, मगर दो विषय,
माननीय मंत्री जी
सर, मैं किसी का नाम नहीं ली, अगर किसी को लग रहा है वो अलग बात है। सर, मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस के ऊपर जीएसटी आने से पहले से टैक्स है। सर प्लीज ध्यान से सुनिए, मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस के ऊपर जीएसटी आने से पहले से हर स्टेट में प्री जीएसटी टैक्स लगता था। ये नया विषय आज नहीं आया है और जीएसटी पैदा होने के बाद नहीं आया, हर स्टेट में था पहले। आज आकर इधर प्रदर्शनी करने वाले हर एक से मैं पूछ रही हूं, आपके स्टेट में पहले बात किए क्या? उसको हटाओ, नहीं किए, हर स्टेट में था। जीएसटी आने के बाद हर जीएसटी से पहले जो कानून था स्टेट में, वो सब जीएसटी में भी आ गए। अभी वो जीएसटी इज वेरी एक्सॉर्टिव, इट इज वेरी वेरी एक्सप्लॉइटेटिव, इसमें अभी आया नहीं। जीएसटी से पहले भी आपके अपने अपने राज्य में मेडिकल इंश्योरेंस के ऊपर टैक्स था, वो पहले मानना चाहिए। और दूसरा, अपने अपने वित्त मंत्री जी जो बैठते हैं जीएसटी काउंसिल में, उनको चिट्ठी लिखा नहीं लिखा, मगर इधर प्रदर्शन करो। क्यों? जीएसटी में 2/3 भाग लेने वाले स्टेट से अपने अपने वित्त मंत्री को लेटर लिखे हैं क्या? नहीं लिखे, मगर इधर प्रदर्शनी करो, मोदी जी रेट कम करो। ये क्या डबल नाटक, ये नाटक क्या है? सर ठीक है, तब नहीं लिखा, अभी भी नहीं बोले उनके अपने अपने वित्त मंत्री को। कांग्रेस शासित राज्यों से वित्त मंत्रीगण बैठते हैं, आप शासित राज्यों से उनके वित्त मंत्री बैठते हैं, कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी का वित्त मंत्री बैठते हैं जीएसटी काउंसिल में, क्या टीएमसी के वित्त मंत्री बैठते हैं? मगर जीएसटी काउंसिल में इस विषय को मैं ये भी बोलती हूँ खुले मन से, हाँ सभी वित्त मंत्री बैठे, मैं बोल रही हूँ सर, हाँ दैट इज व्हाई यू आर रेफरिंग ना, किसी दूसरी लेटर को उठा करके राजनीति करने वाले, राजनीतिक रोटी सेकने वाले, सोच लो सर। जीएसटी काउंसिल इस विषय को उनके 31st मीटिंग में उठाए, डिस्कशन हुआ, फिर 37th मीटिंग में आते हूं, हूँ. I will come back to you, Supriya ji. I will come back to you. I will come back to you. I'm giving answers to every point that you have raised as is being done for other members. Listen to what I say as a reply. I've heard everybody's point. Sir, 31st meeting mein, thank you. I've learned from you, Dada. I've learned from you, Dada. मैं आपसे सीख रही हूँ, Dada. इनसे सीख रही हूँ, सर. मैं सॉफ्टली बोलने में ये चिल्ला कर मुझे बिठा देते हैं. कल्याण बैनर्जी दादा से मैं सीख रही हूँ, थोड़ा अग्रेसिव रहना चाहिए. सर 31st मीटिंग में हुआ, फिर 37th मीटिंग में डिस्कशन हुआ. ये सुनिए ना, ये सुनिए, बैठिए, आराम से बैठिए. 31st मीटिंग में डिस्कशन हुआ, 37th मीटिंग में डिस्कशन हुआ और 47th मीटिंग में भी डिस्कशन हुआ. सो जीएसटी काउंसिल में 3 बार इसके ऊपर चर्चा हुआ है और मैं एक अहम मुद्दा पर आ रही हूं सर. इसी विषय में कोई न्यूज़पेपर में मैं नाम नहीं ले रही हूं, उस पेपर का नाम नहीं ले रही हूं, मगर हाँ सर,
Please reply to the Union Minister letter.
Yeah, I'm telling you now.
The same reply to the Union Minister on GST.
I am coming to all this. There's no point in distracting me, sir. न्यूज़पेपर एक का रिपोर्ट है, मैं पेपर का नाम नहीं ले रही हूँ, मगर उसमें बोला गया कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सेंटर हैज पॉकेटेड 24,529 crores on health insurance premium. एकदम गलत बयान और शिकार भी, उसका हेडिंग भी वही है, सेंटर पॉकेटेड. टोटली रॉन्ग सर. मैं बोल रही हूं जीएसटी कलेक्शन मान लीजिए 18%, कुछ आइटम के ऊपर इस विषय में 18% हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम के ऊपर. 9% goes to the state, 9% comes to the center. एंड जो 9% हमारे पास आता है और इस विषय में 12,264 crores immediately on collection goes to the state. 24,529 जो लिखा गया गलत, that it is being pocketed by the center. No, if the collection is 24,529, 12,264 crores have gone to the state immediately. बाद में जो 12,264 which comes to the center, उसमें भी 41% goes to the states. So कुल मिला करके approximately 73 to 74% of this premium goes to the states. मतलब 100 रुपया जीएसटी आप कलेक्ट करो, 50 रुपया स्टेट को तुरंत चली जाता है. Another 50 rupees जो मेरे पास आता है, उसमें से भी मेरे पास जो 50% आता है 50 rupees, उसमें भी 29 rupees 50 पैसे स्टेट को चली जाता. मतलब 74 rupees और कुछ पैसा हर 100 रुपया में 74 rupees स्टेट को चली जाता है. इसमें मोदी सरकार को दोषी रखो और इधर प्रदर्शन करो. हर एक स्टेट में हर एक उनका पार्टी जा करके उधर उनके वित्त मंत्री के सामने प्रदर्शन करना चाहिए. 74 रुपीस आपने कमाया, रहम है आपके हाथ में, रहम है. वो वित्त मंत्री, हमारा वित्त मंत्री, राज्य के वित्त मंत्री 74 रुपीस कमाकर बैठे हो, गलत है. जाके उधर बोलना चाहिए. 100 में 74 रुपीस उधर जाता है. ये इधर आपके प्रदर्शन कर रहे हो, जाके आपके स्टेट में पूछ लो आपके अपने अपने वित्त मंत्री जी से. सर, therefore, I'm coming to you, Gogoi, honorable member, sit down. सर, इसीलिए इधर मैं खड़े होकर के 1/3 मेंबरशिप हमारे हाथ में रख के जीएसटी काउंसिल में 2/3 जब राज्य मंत्रीगण बैठे हैं, मैं इतना तो कम से कम करूंगी कि ये हल्ला पार्लियामेंट में हुआ, माननीय सदस्यों के द्वारा उनके अपने अपने वित्त मंत्री को चिट्ठी लिखे नहीं लिखे मुझे मालूम नहीं है, मैं काउंसिल में ये जरूर कहूंगा ये ही हुआ। धन्यवाद।